exciting. Sarah is a fan, so I'm speaking to a creator fan more than a reactor today. And I was just double checking before I hit record what her last name was and how to pronounce it because all her Facebook and Instagram says Sara Sidewinder, and she goes,
That's it.
"Oh, it's not my name." So, hi Sarah, thank you for coming,
Hi.
and perhaps you could just quickly explain to people that it's not your name.
Yeah, so that's not my official actual last name.
Yeah.
It is a kind of, I guess, back in the day, I started it kind of as just a nickname or a stage name type
Okay.
thing. But yeah, I liked it better. I kind of my last name after changing it when I got married,
Yeah.
things like that. I kind of didn't really stick with me too much. So
Yeah.
yeah, I go by Sarah Sidewinder.
Okay. Well, and to anybody watching, I found Sarah in the one of the Facebook groups. I think it was the art group, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe I posted in both the art group and the rabbit hole.
And so the Ren Rabbit Hole, and then there's the Ren. Is it International Art? I can't remember the
I
name
believe
of the
so.
thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
international art.
So it tends to be the fans of Ren who also create, but very often you're creating pieces which have something to do with Ren or of his friends. Is that
Yes,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Should we start at the beginning? And how did you
Sure.
find Ren and what happened?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so I found Ren. I know the exact date. It was April 24th of this year. And I found him just kind of happenstance. I was on a different band's fan group, 21
Okay.
Pilots fan group,
Okay.
and I saw people talking about other artists, and someone said that the only other artist they listened to was Ren. And I
Okay.
had seen that name kind of pop up once or twice, and I never get super curious or anything, but for some reason I was just like, that's an interesting like thing. I wonder who that is for someone to just listen to him in 21
Yeah.
Pilots. And so I went, clicked on the number one video, so I clicked on Hi Ren. I
Okay.
heard just the very beginning of the rap part, and I stopped it. Told my sister, "We need to listen to this right now,"
What you
and
needed
she was,
company.
yeah, I was like, "Listen,"
I
and
need a
so I
witness.
knew she was gonna like it, and so we threw it on the TV, and we both just like were in shock. We watched it together, and by the end of it, like my thing, I was already so into it immediately,
Yeah.
and then when he got to the end, the monologue part,
You described. Yeah.
and yeah, and when he said, specifically when he mentioned illness
Yeah.
and then psychosis, those
Yeah.
two things, I've dealt with both.
Yeah.
Um, and I swear I felt like my heart stopped. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. Hearing someone talk about those
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
was already, I was
I've
like,
got a
oh,
shiver going down my spine just thinking about it.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
It's
sure, for
because,
sure.
like you, to hear, particularly that it was a young guy, like a trendy guy, and that he
Hmm.
was talking about it, and that he was going through some of the same problems as I had about being gaslit and stuff. And I
Hmm.
was like, I really needed to hear that. It was very valuable. But carry
Oh
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh no. But yeah, no, that, and I mean immediately started looking into everything.
Okay.
I read everything I could. I found out, yeah, how much he dealt with, and oh man. It was intense, and seeing so much stuff coincide with how
Yeah.
I've been dealing with my chronic illness now for, well, kind of confusing, but since my diagnosis happened in 2017,
Okay.
but I've had some symptoms from, I have POTS, and a
Okay.
few other things, but my symptoms have been happening since probably early teenage
Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it took forever to get the diagnosis, like most people. And I've not been able to work regularly
Okay.
since 2017. And so, yeah, just seeing the struggles, seeing the stuff that he went through, and then the chapters came out
Okay. Yeah.
right after that. So I we got to watch that all come out,
Yeah.
with us just being so interested. We followed every single one, watched them immediately, and it was just, everything's just been amazing. I've listened to every single thing I can. I
Mhm.
watched within a few days, I think I had already gone through. I mean, I don't have anything else to do really. So I went through his entire YouTube catalog.
Yeah.
Every video on there I watched.
And were you for this other group, 21 Pilots? You said.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Were you already involved with different fan Facebooks then? So was
Yeah,
it obvious to look for those kind of things?
yeah, it really was.
Okay.
I think I joined the rabbit hole like within 24 hours of
Oh, okay.
finding
Because I
it.
didn't know those things existed, but
Oh
I'm
yeah,
out of
yeah.
it. Yeah.
I've been kind of involved with loving music and the music
Yeah.
scene since I was a teenager.
Okay.
I even worked for a radio station for a while.
Okay.
And so yeah, I've kind of been like a super fan of music and stuff for a really long time. It's my favorite thing. Honestly,
Yeah.
music. I love art. I can do art.
Yeah.
I can do art. I can't seem to do music. I've tried a little bit. I can play a
Yeah.
little bit, things like that. But I love music. I have what 9 tattoos now, and all of them have something to do with music.
Yeah. And are you a
Uh,
performer in terms of music as well, or
Not no. I've only. I mean, I did stuff like in high school. I was in
okay?
choir. I was in theater the most. I loved art and kind of acting stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I haven't ever done performance music wise as an adult at all.
Right. Okay. So, as I say, I'm just wondering whether I should have, if I'm clever enough and fancy enough, put one of your pictures up, but with your permission, just
Oh
to
yeah,
show
of
people
course.
what kind of artwork we're talking about here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, were you creating and sharing art before you were in this group?
Um, so I only did art. Probably the last time I did an art piece was about 7 years ago, 6 or 7 years ago, and that was I was into 21 Pilots, that band, and I did do an art piece right before I got kind of too sick. I felt
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
And that was the last time, and it still was a struggle for me to do something like that because it was traditional.
Yeah.
I did stippling, just kind of a pen and paper type thing. And then when my POTS got too bad, and I was laying down a lot, I kind of thought that it wasn't really an option for me.
Yeah.
And I kind of lost a lot of my drive there too. And then I had
Yeah.
another upset that happened with me that ended up making me completely not do anything or care too much, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that was the last thing I had shared, and then just in within the last few weeks, I
Oh,
picked
it's
up.
weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah, the piece I think the piece that you saw,
Yeah.
the one that you commented on, that was the first thing I had done in 6 years for sure.
Wow.
Hmm.
Okay. It's so hot. I was okay. I do this every time I do an interview. My brain is going, go this way, go this way.
Oh yeah, I
There's
totally
so many
understand.
different things I want to talk about. So I'm curious when, so you know you like art. Is
Yeah.
that so? You know you like art, but you're not really. Are you just doing a little bit for yourself, or are you not even doing that for yourself?
I mean, I kind of, it's hard to say. I mean, I just kind of picked it up for myself. I know that that's something I've always enjoyed.
Yeah,
I know that creating things and sharing them,
yeah,
anything, is something I liked. I did photography. I was kind of
okay,
trying to get into that frame for a while.
hmm,
And I wanted to do music photography. That was like my ultimate goal,
yeah,
um, right before I got too sick.
yeah,
And so I was just anything that got me to show my passion, got me to show anything that would just kind of explain my soul.
yeah.
So,
But as I say, I'm just really interested because the picture that I saw
mhm.
certainly looked like professional standard, like you've been
Oh
drawing for
yeah,
years and years and years.
no,
But it seems like you've just over the last few weeks thought, that's it. I'm going to put some of
yeah.
my energy into this. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's
Or
completely what it is. Yeah. Basically, I'd hoped to kind of pick up something, and I ended up talking to another fan, and I think they just mentioned that they had wanted to get an iPad,
yeah,
and I knew that I haven't really done a whole lot of art on like on iPads or anything like
yeah,
that. A long time ago, over 10 years ago, I had my laptop, my old laptop, and I did do photo editing and a little bit of digital art on that.
okay,
But I hadn't touched that laptop, hadn't touched my drawing pad, hadn't touched anything like that in a
Yeah.
long time. And technology's kind of gotten a lot
Yeah.
better, and apps and stuff. And so I just, after talking to that girl and thinking, oh, an iPad might be kind of a cool thing. I thought I can't afford that. I can't
Hmm.
grab an iPad. And so I just decided, well, there are styluses for
Hmm.
iPhones, and I know they don't work too well, but they're better than my fingers. So
Yeah.
I just ordered I think it was $16. So a $16 stylus, just a
Yeah.
simple one, and grabbed it, charged it, and then had the Procreate app on my phone.
Yeah.
And I kind of do a trick because it's on my phone, so it's
Yeah.
a really complicated way to do things. It's not completely freehand. Obviously, I have kind of a reference photo that I
Yeah.
use, and I edit that photo a bunch, plug it in, and then really kind of zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and then kind of have guidelines of where to do different kinds of strokes, different filling out things, using different brushes, and kind of just tried.
Yeah.
I tried it, and yeah, it ended up being something way better than I thought I could ever create while laying down.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And then you thought, did the Facebook group feel a safe place to share, or were you just sort of excited and shared,
I
or
so
both?
honestly, I kind of both.
Yeah.
I had done like I did one little, just a quick sketch, like 10-minute sketch thing, and I was like, that actually kind of looks cool. And I showed my sister and my best friend, and they were like, whoa. You need to see if you could do more and like
Yeah.
really work on this for a second. And I was like, okay. And
Yeah.
so I did. I took like 24, 48 hours, did that first drawing, the one that you saw, and was like, oh, okay, this is really cool. I think
Yeah.
I think people might like it, and
Yeah.
I have shared really personal stuff on the rabbit hole, shared personal stuff on different groups before, and so I thought, yeah, let me try it, and oh my goodness, the response was so amazing.
Yeah.
Everyone was so supportive and so nice. I was so happy.
Yeah. It's just, and are you still involved with the other group, the 21 Pilots?
I definitely, I went to their concert not too long ago.
Okay.
So I still love them. They're still definitely up there as a favorite artist of mine too.
Yeah.
But I think Ren kind of took over.
Yeah. I think what's happened today is that I did a few reaction videos. People had said to me, "Oh, you must listen to this group. You must listen to this," and it's it's clear that there's a whole universe that I was not aware of
Oh yeah.
like super fans. Like I I knew there was the Ren rabbit hole, and but
Hmm.
that was fairly new to me. But then it turns out there's these people exist for lots of different groups. But I'm
Yeah.
wondering what we have in common, because we may not love exactly the same music, but there seems to be an openness.
Hmm.
I don't know, enjoying the creativity, and there seems to be a passion of the fans, and
Yeah. Yeah,
something is
no, there
going on.
is. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. 21 Pilot. I know there's a huge kind of overlap with 21 Pilot fans that do end up liking Ren, and in almost quite a few Ren fans. I know a lot of the admins and stuff on the rabbit hole. A lot of them like 21 Pilots.
yeah,
And I do think with between 21 Pilots and Ren, there's a lot of mental health talk.
yes,
That's a huge thing. And I think the sense of community that
hmm,
happens with people who can really relate to that.
yeah,
And yeah, I think that just kind of draws people together.
yeah,
And it brings out a passion that
yeah.
that a lot of other artists don't get.
Yeah, I just wondering what it is. I mean, part of me, I'm so interested in sort of psychology type of things, and it's just like,
Oh yeah.
is it there is a certain type of person that is attracted to that kind of, I don't know, creativity? And also what I'm interested in is, can I connect the dots that are the super fans as such creatives, whether they know it or not? That's
Oh,
what
it
I'm
feels
wondering.
like it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it feels like
because
it.
because because you're saying, okay, I wasn't really doing it, but then
Yeah.
suddenly being around these people, I think this is what interests me, is that you spend time around people and you watch your favorite artist
Hmm.
create and be brave, and then
Yeah. Oh
suddenly you
yeah.
think, I think I'll have a go. Like,
Yeah, and
that's the
that's
bit I'm
totally how it
interested.
happened. Yeah, because I know for me, like I 21 Pilots did bring that out of me, that my
Yeah.
last drawing involved them, 6 7 years ago. But when I lost kind of it kind of just kind of went away. I unfortunately was mixed diagnosed and was on a medication that kind of stripped a lot of my personality away.
Okay.
And so after I stopped that medication, I took that for 5 years, but I stopped it, and all of my passion, all of my fuel kind of started trickling back.
Okay.
And then when I found Ren, and I think with Ren, seeing him create and knowing that he created in the deepest, darkest places,
Yeah.
and that he still pushed through and wanted to be able to share something
Yeah.
and do all that art even when he was suffering so bad,
Hmm.
that was something that really really spoke to me and made me really want to be able to
Yeah.
do the things that made me happy, even if I had to adapt and even if I had to try to figure
Yeah.
out a different way, which thank goodness I found it and I'm so ecstatic about.
Yeah.
But
Do you
yeah,
think you get an iPad?
I think about that. Oh, I don't have an iPad yet, but I will eventually, I think.
But that's
But my phone,
that's on the
yeah,
list.
luckily my phone somehow somehow
Yeah.
I'm able to do it even on my phone right now. But
Yeah.
an
You just have to
iPad,
save it.
yeah,
Save it in multiple places.
yeah.
All those hours of work.
Hmm.
Yeah. So as I say, you said that you have pots. Are
Yes.
you happy? Are you okay if I ask you a couple of questions
Oh,
about being?
totally,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah. Because, like you say, it's the story about Ren. When I heard it, um, I do think it's important to hear stories, and
Oh yeah.
somebody's ill and then they're still creating and they're still, and also, yes, to see that he's successful, and but successful in terms of finding his people. That was what
Yes.
attracted to me. It's like, maybe he can't create and do stuff every day.
Yeah.
Maybe he has days off, because of one of the things that really worried me is that I wanted to be coming across as professional, and I knew that it was going to be hit and miss in terms of my own idea of professional. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? It's like, oh,
Yeah, it does.
if
It
I'm going to
does.
crash, if I'm going to do this, and then I'm going
Yeah.
to let people down, and it's not going to work. And so it was
Mhm.
really important to hear that story. But are you happy now that you have a right diagnosis and that you're managing things? Or
You know, I don't quite have everything I need yet.
okay,
I do have POTS. I also have EDS. So that's something that other people know about.
okay,
Um,
tell me what that stands for. I think I know.
EDS is Ehlers-Danlos syndrome.
Yes, because I'm looking into that now. Yes, go on.
Yeah, yeah, and so I have that. I got that diagnosis. I had thought that that kind of explained some of my stuff.
Yeah.
But then in the last month or two, I've been really struggling hard with
Okay.
other symptoms. And now it seems a lot like I also have MCAS, another thing that Ren
Okay.
deals with. So I'm
Yeah.
having to go through that diagnosis,
Okay.
all that stuff too. And so unfortunately, that's what I was just in the hospital for. I just
Yeah.
got out of the
I
hospital.
was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that was back in, let's see, the beginning of October, or yeah,
Okay.
I got out of the hospital on the 11th. And that
Okay.
was because I couldn't really eat much. I've been
Yeah.
reacting to all kinds of foods, having a lot of trouble with that, and so I ended up in metabolic acidosis.
Nice. Right.
And so
Okay.
yeah, and so they had to admit me and get all my levels right, try to figure things out. Then we kind of delve in and figured out MCAS might be something I was dealing with, and then yeah, I kind of had to work with the doctors because doctors didn't actually know a whole lot about that here,
No.
which kind of is a struggle. And
Yeah.
so, but then I ended up searching and finding stuff out myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have so many symptoms, so many things I've dealt with for a very long time. And even my little bout that I dealt with psychosis
Mm-hmm.
could have been because of that, because I had a bad reaction to a medication.
Also medication. Yeah.
I tried taking an SSRI
Yeah.
when I was dealing with a little bit of depression from the chronic illness,
Yeah.
and instead of doing what it does for most people and helping, it caused me to get serotonin syndrome, or most
Mm-hmm.
likely get serotonin syndrome, and I had really bad psychosis and had to be hospitalized for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot.
No, it's a lot, but it's also I don't know what to say about it. It's a lot in terms of I feel for you that it's a lot, but it's also it seems to be a common story in the community that people have different challenges, and but I think that is how we're finding our people in a
Oh
way.
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's just
completely.
I know for me, I don't really want to talk about my health stuff all the time, but it's not a secret.
Oh
It's
yeah.
just like I'd like to be focusing on the creative side of things, but sometimes I feel like I have to explain, oh, I can't always stick to a schedule and I
Right.
can't do things like that. But I'd like to be fast talking over that bit. And then,
Right, right. I
you know,
totally get it. Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Because it does. You don't want to like it. I understand. I think Ren kind of does the same thing too. It's like you want to have the awareness. You want to tell people
yeah,
what you're going through, but you also don't want to let it completely overwhelm you.
yeah,
It's so hard to. There's so much nuance. There's so much stuff involved. But yeah, it kind of feels like you just want to
yeah.
like,
But also
hey,
it can feel like I'm making excuses about not doing something I say I want to do. And
right?
and it's like, no, it's just a simple explanation. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I think you're lying down at the moment, is
I
that right?
am.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking that. I was thinking, can I do videos lying down? Can I do, like, I don't really want to draw attention to certain things, and I know I'd have
Yeah.
to quickly explain it. But how can I make it possible for me to do things that are fun and things that I get enjoyment from? Because that's what you're looking for, isn't it? It's like,
For sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that is I know. And that's what it's funny because I struggled with the same thing for this interview. I sat and thought, "Oh, should I try to do the whole thing?
yeah.
Should I
No,
try to
you
sit up?"
you last long. I'm guessing you last longer if you're lying down. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Because I'm the same. When I'm feeling worse. At the moment, I'm okay. I'm sitting up. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, and then I start to lose my words a little bit. I don't know whether you
Uh-huh.
have. It's like
Oh
my
yeah.
jaw starts to go, and I'm slurring my words. And I'm a
Yeah.
teetotaler. I don't drink alcohol at all. But on a couple of my videos for my late, which we've done later in the night, I can hear me slurring the words. Some people say they can't tell, but I'm like
Mhm.
really self-conscious, and I'm thinking, do I explain? I'm not drunk. I'm
Oh
just losing
yeah.
my words a bit. Ah, dear
Oh,
me.
I get you.
But yeah, I say that's why I was also thinking that I did want to mention about the different illnesses, and I did want to mention that you were lying down, because it is it is possible. These things are possible, and I think sometimes we can have an idea in our head of, oh, but I want to show up this way, and and,
Mhm.
and maybe I don't really want this to be my story. I'd rather a different story, but but this is the way
Yeah.
it is.
Exactly. No, exactly. And that's kind of how I feel. And I did, and that was what made me ultimately decide, I'm gonna just do it lying down. I know I've seen a couple of Ren's videos where he was
Yeah.
laying down in some of his older videos and stuff like that, and I thought, heck, but I still threw my makeup on.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
sister
Well,
still.
I have put a little bit of makeup on, but some of the things with videos, I don't do my hair because I struggle with my arms, like to have my arms. Is all this
Oh,
sounding familiar? Yeah.
totally. My sister did my hair for me. I totally
So
do.
so sometimes when people give me feedback, really in the very early days, people would say to me, "You should wear makeup and you should do this and you should do that," and I'm like, "I'm really trying." And I think I think if I wasn't trying, then I could probably just laugh about it. But the fact that I'm trying to find ways to make creating possible and connecting with people possible, and make it kind of sustainable. And that
Mhm.
means I've got to be okay on camera with no makeup, and okay. I've got to be okay not doing flashy edits. I've got to be okay, you know.
Oh, good for you. I'm so glad though. That's great because it's so good. It's so good to come through and decide to do something like that. Say I'm going to push through. I'm going to do it how I can.
Yeah,
That's the best. Do it how you can. And I have tons of help. I have found my own group of people.
yeah,
I have some of the most amazing people in my life. My sister, she's not even really legally or biologically my sister, but she's lived with me for most of my life now.
Okay.
My parents took her in when we were teenagers,
Okay.
and she's been with me ever since. And she does so much for me. She helps me. She washes my hair.
Yeah.
She gets my clothes together if I can't. She does everything, and when I have to use a wheelchair, she pushes that around. It's amazing. Then I have my husband, who's been through thick and thin. He's amazing, and then I also have two other friends who are have been my friend for 25 years,
Yeah.
both of them, and they will do anything for me, and it's amazing. And luckily with them, I don't think I'd survive without him, but with them, they have encouraged me too. They're helping me all every step of the way, which
Yeah.
is also why I love Ren's team, because you can really see that kind of love surrounding him too. And that's awesome. I'm glad that he has people like that that seem to
Yeah.
be with him.
Have you noticed since you've created, and particularly since you've shared and got the feedback, has that made any impact on different health things, or just about your own spirits? Or
Oh, my own spirits for sure. I mean, I started drawing on my phone a couple weeks ago, and it was right when I started having a lot more trouble with food,
yeah,
and I wasn't able to eat as much, and I wasn't able to do stuff, and I was getting kind of worse, and then I ended up in the hospital, and somehow I felt fine. I
yeah,
felt I felt mentally I
yeah,
was
because you can be
handling
ill
it.
but not depressed, can't you? I mean,
Yeah.
I know for me is that sometimes I've gone to the doctor and he said, "Oh, antidepressants stuff," and I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm not depressed. I'm sad that I'm ill sometimes. I'm
Yeah,
frustrated,
yeah,
but
that
it's
still hits
I know
exactly.
the difference. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
I
carry on.
definitely wasn't. I didn't feel that depression. And I felt it before for sure. But yeah, after finding out that I could make things, I could do something that other people found beautiful, that I found beautiful. That really, like, that was enough.
Yeah, you make me want to cry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go on, you keep talking.
Oh yeah,
I'll pull
no,
myself together.
and I just covered it, and then I got
Oh
home
yeah.
2 days ago. Yeah,
Yes, I
and
saw it all taped up. I saw a picture on the Facebook group, all with the plastic on it or whatever it
oh,
is that
you're
they
so
put on
sweet.
it.
I love you.
Oh dear me. I told you it's been a funny old day today.
oh, I totally get it.
Ah, dear me. No, I just love that. I love to hear that you're finding a way.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It really is. I I honestly, when I read through all the comments that people left
Yeah,
on all, I've made three pictures, posted three different pictures, two of Ren and one of Vic,
yeah,
and everyone, the love that I've received from that honestly has helped me so much.
yeah,
And it was amazing. It was amazing for people not only just to say nice things about me, the drawing, and just and my little bit of story that I gave out,
mm,
knowing that I did it from my bed on my phone.
yeah.
Just it made me cry the whole time I was reading every comment.
Oh, you're gonna.
Uh,
We might have to talk about something else. Dear me, dear me. I just, I know when I was lying down more, and it's like I think I'm going to be better if I'm not focusing on the illness, because you're focusing on I want to get
oh
well.
yeah,
What can I try? What supplements can I try? And you can drive yourself insane.
yeah,
So I knew I wanted to do something, and I felt that video was a good idea, but I knew I didn't have the skills for it, and it was hard.
oh yeah.
Like okay, I'm going to have to show up and imperfectly, and everybody says, "Oh, it's okay," but it doesn't feel okay when it's you.
No, oh right. Oh my gosh, that's such a phrase. It doesn't feel okay when it's you. I know how many times I tell everyone else it's okay.
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's okay if you can't do that. Oh, it's okay that you can't do this. It's
yeah, and it's okay.
everything.
You don't have the right equipment. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just do it on your phone. But now you've done it. You see, this is the thing: is that now I've done it and I've shared videos, and then some people have reached out to me and said, "Okay, I've seen I've seen your early videos. I can probably do that, you know. And it's like that's good. I've kept them
Yeah.
up there for that reason. And then they
Yeah.
hear
It's
your
a step.
story and they say, "Well, I can't afford an iPad, but I could probably afford a stylus." You know, like
Oh yeah.
yeah,
No, and I know I already had a few people say that they were waiting and they wanted to get this or they wanted to get that, and
yeah,
I was able to do this. Yeah, you have to figure it out. You have to kind of work
yeah,
around and see what you can do. But
yeah.
I amazed myself for a second there for sure.
Yeah.
I didn't
And
know
also
that was
you said you had a
possible.
bit of knowledge about photography. And that's the
I do.
thing is that when I started doing this, and a couple of people were asking me advice, and I was thinking, well, actually, there's this thing from the past that's kind of useful, and this thing's from the past that's useful, and I think that's true for you, isn't it? I think the photography helped you, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you're ill, it's almost like nothing helps me.
Oh yeah.
Like I
Exactly.
done, like for example, I done waitressing, I done all those things. Like forget it, you're never going to be doing those things again. But you have to
Yeah.
kind of remember that all there are little skills and little things that you've learned that
Hmm.
are useful going forward.
Completely. Yeah. Like I had never picked up the Procreate app, but because of my
Yeah,
knowledge of
I
Photoshop, I
use
kind of knew.
Procreate. Yeah,
Yeah, I knew layers. I knew different
yeah,
things like that. I understood in general what kind of tools did what, so it
yeah,
wasn't too hard to figure it out. I know if someone's stepping in and has no knowledge of it or anything, it might be a little bit more difficult. But there's also tons. I used to teach myself. I taught myself my photography skills.
yeah.
I read the manual myself, and that was how I figured out what apertures was, what all of that stuff was. And then I watched YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, I'm not very good at remembering words like the apertures and whatever. Yeah, I've watched the videos and I've learnt about this stuff, but for some reason it doesn't stick. You know.
Yeah, sometimes
Anyway,
it's hard. I totally understand. Now a good resource I use also is Chat GPT.
okay.
If I want to learn something, I just ask that to explain it to me like I'm a child, and
Yeah.
it'll help
Yeah.
me.
Well, I got on Chat GPT really early and was quite impressed, and then I forgot my password because that's I'm not always as quick. I don't always write things down properly. I'm not always thinking things through. So they don't really have any kind of customer service to, so I'm completely locked out of that and using other things now.
Oh
But that's my slight moan about chat. I mean it's my own fault is that I just don't always have different systems in place.
oh,
I
I
struggle
get it.
certainly later in the day. I struggle with remembering certain things, and it's good
Frustrations.
fun. It's good fun. But what's next? What's next for you? What are you going to draw? What
Um,
are you going to do?
so more art, definitely. I already have a few things lined up. I'm working on a piece right now that's just for my loved ones,
Okay.
to show some support for them from them because
Yeah.
they all help me. And so there's just that I'm working on, and then my lovely parents. They never really have asked me before, but they asked me if I could do a drawing of their dog.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing. And then I am sure I am going to do something from the slaughterhouse
Yeah.
video that's coming out. I'm excited about that. And I
Yeah.
also love making GIFs. That's something else I do.
Okay.
I That's a lot quicker than drawing. My
Yeah.
drawings last one took 10 hours.
Yeah.
But my GIF making I can do, and I will. That's something I can do almost daily if I wanted to.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the cartoons daily, and it's because it's such a short thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um. But as I say, although that seems like immediate future, do you think about more medium term future? What?
Um, I think for me, because my health is so up in the air,
Yeah.
I never know what I really can do. But long term, a goal of mine would definitely be to be able to make some sort of money
Yeah.
doing anything like this. Anything if I could do drawings for
Yeah.
people, if I could, my gosh, a huge goal of mine would be to eventually be able to do like music photography again,
Yeah.
anything like that. But I know there's a lot of issues with making, there's either deadlines, which can be tough,
Hmm.
or specific dates, because if you do photo shoots or things, you have to have dates set,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have to be make sure you're available, and right now I have no idea.
And this is what I mean about it sounds like you're making excuses. Or I'm not saying you are. I'm saying when I
But
say
yeah,
it, it
when I
sounds
say
like excuses, and
exactly.
I'm like, no, this is the reality. It needs to be so flexible. I need
Mhm.
to, So yeah, but
Yeah.
as I say, it's just the reality, isn't
It
it?
is. It is. It is what I have to deal with. And luckily, I'm still hopeful. I'm still
Yeah,
hopeful a lot of that could work out, but I just have to play it all by ear.
yeah,
And I'm glad that what I can do now is able to make me and others so happy.
yeah,
And I'm still looking for things to help me too. I know things to help me physically. I know I could try to do exercises laying down and that could help me. Things like
yeah,
that to try, and eating better, eating eating
yeah.
better.
Eating clean, yeah, all those things.
All
Yeah,
those things. And
I've
so
completely dropped the ball on that. I've been doing much more on the creating side, and that's fun. But I dropped the ball on that side of things. I'm just working things out
yeah,
now.
it's a hard balancing act to try to
Yeah,
have to take care of yourself,
yeah. How
especially
much
with dealing with
energy?
all of this kind of stuff. People who are like are like me, or like, dealing with all this, and obviously like you, it's such a juggling act. It's just this whole thing that you have to do, and some days you just want to focus on one thing only,
Yeah,
and that's hard, because throwing all this stuff, it's almost impossible to throw your health completely on the back burner, but
yeah,
we do it. We do it, and then unfortunately, if that happens, some of us end up in the hospital, or things like that. But yeah, oh, it's just difficult, and I know it, and I feel for everyone that
yeah.
goes through it, for sure.
Yeah, I know for me, the whole thinking positively wasn't necessarily helpful in terms of what I was choosing to do in the day. So I kind of said to myself, I don't know whether this is a bit depressing, but I kind of said to myself, if future me is much better, if future me is worse, if future me is the same, what can I do today that either one of those options is going to be happy I've done today? Does that make
That kind
sense?
of makes sense, yeah.
Because I couldn't, oh, this time next year I'm going to be really well. And then, obviously as soon as it becomes a couple of years and stuff, it's like I can't keep saying that to myself. It feels like a lie. Um,
Exact. No, that's actually, and it's funny you said it might be depressing. It is and it isn't. I get that, because then it feels like you don't want to feel like you're giving up.
Yeah, no,
You
for
don't
me,
want to
it
feel.
felt empowering. It's like, what can I do today? And so I got into minimalism and I started minimalizing and clearing out my home because I couldn't manage the home.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, future me, if I am super well, it's just going to be really thrilled that the house is easy to manage, So,
Right.
so that just helped me feel like I'm doing something which wasn't just a dead end. Because sometimes some of the illness things become a bit of a dead end. Oh, I'm going to try this. Oh, it didn't work. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No,
I
I
haven't
get that.
spoken to somebody as much about the illness stuff. So, but it is about the creative side.
Yeah.
I, yeah, it's just the fact that this is where you're at right
Yeah.
now
Right.
and what
Right.
you do with it because you are a creative person and clearly
And
it's brought you a lot of pleasure.
oh gosh, yes. Yeah, I
Yeah,
am I am a creative person, and that is me. My illness happens to me.
yeah,
It's something I deal with, but I am Sarah. I am the person who loves to do all these fun things and has the
yeah,
passion, and
yeah.
and listens to music so much. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've been out of the loop. I found Ren. I found the high Ren because of illness. My counselor suggested it to me, but then I went deep dive on high Ren reaction videos. I didn't watch anything else.
Oh,
I was like, are people seeing what I'm seeing? Are they hearing what I'm hearing? But I spent hours just watching one song, so I did feel a little bit crazy. Um, so when I made a video saying I felt like maybe I'm the only person who's doing this, and then I find there's lots of other people.
oh, I get it. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I'm curious about the Ren and the art that you create about Ren.
Mhm.
What are the rules about having that as a business? are the rules? What are, I don't know what.
I don't even know.
No,
I can't imagine. I don't
I
know
don't
how
mean
that would
about
work.
selling like the merchandise. I mean, it's like you make a portrait or you do so. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
clearly it is from a picture of Ren,
Yeah.
but it's still your creation, isn't it?
It is
So
still my
yeah,
creation. Yeah, it's definitely it's just something I had to make every pen stroke. I had to do all that
yeah,
stuff. So it's just the same as a drawing,
yeah,
on paper. And I do believe it. I know something you could do monetary wise of that is, I think, commissions, things like that. I'm just not sure how any of that would possibly work.
yeah. So you're super new. Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
I use a website. Yeah, a website called Redbubble. I was just losing my letters
Oh
then, but
yes,
um,
yes.
called Redbubble, and I put the cartoons on there, but I'm not very committed, shall
Yeah.
we say?
Yeah. I know
And I don't
people do sell
promote it, and I
some.
don't tell people about it, but
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
it's
not
an
sure. I'm not
experiment.
sure. Yeah, for sure. I'll learn slowly.
Well, I do feel like most of the things I'm doing at the moment are experiments and getting data, and yeah, um,
Hmm.
and it had to be about. Um, I felt like I think I'm going to be happier if I can be more fully self-expressed, rather
Yeah.
than I feel I'm going to be happier if I earn this money and that. Or I thought no, I think it's about me expressing myself and meeting people who are like-minded. It's so
Oh,
interesting
totally.
earlier when you said about learning, because lots of people I'm talking to are like, yes, and I taught myself this, and I taught myself this language, and I taught myself that. Yeah, seems to
Yeah.
be a really common theme.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't I think I feel like I taught myself most of the stuff I've learned. Even in school,
Yeah,
I would deep dive on my own if I wanted to learn something, and I couldn't zone out on everything else. And I didn't go to college. I didn't do anything like that. I just did high school, and I decided on my own that I was gonna just try to work. I was gonna go for art. I didn't want to. I didn't have the money to pay for school and all that stuff. And so everything I learned, whether it be through creative processes, fixing things, anything, was just me doing it on my own,
yeah,
and figuring it out. And so, yeah, that's everything that I do.
yeah. It's just all this potential, and then it's just it's a little bit tricky to figure out how you're going to make this work,
Yeah,
but you've already got some clues now. And also, I don't know whether you've seen any of my cartoons. I went through a whole period of being obsessed by doors and just drawing doors. Like, am I allowed in this room? And is this door going to open? And then as I'm doing these videos, the phrase that keeps coming to mind is that you just don't know the doors that are opening. And so for you, like family saying, "Oh, can you do a picture?" And then people in the group saying, "Can you do this?" Who knows
yeah.
what
And
happens?
yeah, and I'm open for anything. I am open for anything. I will be
Suggestions,
happy. I
yeah,
mean, I have almost nothing right now. I mean, I have my friends and family. That's what I have, and
yeah.
anything that comes from me being able to create, whether I do it, I mean, honestly, I'll do these drawings of Ren and that kind of thing, the gifts that I make of Ren, all of that I'll do for free,
Yeah,
probably forever, because it makes me freaking happy.
yeah.
But yeah.
I think, as I say, I keep using the phrase about gathering data. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting sharing work, and you get some feedback, share some work, and also you kind of check with yourself about your own feedback. Is that did that feel good? Did I feel like I was being taken advantage of? No,
Mhm.
that felt good.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. I'll as long as stuffing makes me happy, and that's like the biggest thing. And one of and the thing that makes me happiest is honestly making other people happy. So that's kind
yeah,
of
yeah. Well, I think from what I've seen in the community, people um, have a lot of different interests and tastes.
yeah,
Considering they are a fan of this one particular artist, they
yeah,
come at it from all different angles. Some of them are saying, "Oh, I love film," and some of them are saying, "I love guitar," and some it's you know, everybody's got their own quirks
yeah.
and side
Yeah,
of things.
I mean, and especially with Ren and his
Yeah,
community, because he seems to love all these different kind of things, and it shows in so much of his music. So
yeah,
especially, I mean, the genre bending. I think the first comment I saw that mentioned him, that was something that caught my eye when I saw his name. I think they said genre bending
yeah,
specifically, and I was like, well, that's already an interest for me because
Yeah.
I like things that kind of mesh stuff together. I
Yeah.
like it if someone's not just in one solid box.
Yeah.
And in the rabbit hole in all of the fan base, it really seems there's all ages. It's
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
and girls. It's
Because I said I'm
everyone.
not a typical Ren fan, and all the comments went, "There's no such thing. There's no such thing." Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I love that. And I ended up being kind of lucky just because I found him. I didn't know how old he was or anything, but we're
Yeah.
only 4 months apart. I'm only 4 months older than him,
Yeah.
and
No,
so I was
I'm
like,
quite a
oh
bit
okay.
older. Yeah.
But
So,
I got that. I just the only reason I was excited about that was because like specifically just for fun, like the 1990s song. I have never gotten so many references in a song in my life,
yeah.
but that was
I
just
haven't
because.
heard it.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah, there's.
I'm still so new in the whole watching everything. But it's interesting that you say about the different genres and stuff, because
Mhm.
that is what I'm seeing in the comments from a few of the other groups too. And I don't know that. I don't know the other groups. But the fans are saying the same thing, and I was like, there's something happening about the kind of person that is comment taking the time to comment on my videos about different things, that they seem to be, I don't know, just that they like that mix or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think yeah, and I think it is because or at least it seems like it's just because there's something for everyone,
Yeah,
and a lot of the people who like that kind of thing already get drawn to other people who are like that, and so then you kind of get to it becomes exciting to show so many different people. Oh well, you might not like this that much, but then you might really love this. You
yeah.
might really like this. And I know I don't know which songs you have heard, but yeah, there's so
Not much.
there's there's so many. High Rent is amazing, and it really
Yeah,
can draw people in. But oh, if you can get more rock style, you can get
yeah,
straight just rap, hip hop type style stuff with the Sick Boy album. It's really fun, and I like that. And that made me happy. There's even I don't know what kind of stuff you heard, but like there's an old song on
I'm
fucking
too embarrassed to say my old taste in music. I'm too embarrassed now.
but yeah, I know there's a song on Freckled Angels
Yeah.
that I love. I think it's Fire, and that has like an alien ant farm type like
Okay.
vibe to it. It's very interesting how many different sounds Ren has been able to come up with,
Yeah,
and I think that's one of the things that draws in so many different people because there is a sound for a lot of different people to get sucked in, and then
yeah,
if you like it enough you will like really deep dive into the other stuff too, which is kind of fun, but it just takes it at your own pace. You know.
yeah, yeah. I think what I'm attracted to mainly is the story, but I'm I'm really interested in the people that are attracted to it. It's like, okay, what is it that we've all got in common? What is it?
Yeah.
And also, I think particularly because of the high Ren was focusing on that inner dialogue, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so who else? Because I assumed other people felt the way I did in terms of an inner dialogue, and yet when I've spoken to some people recently, clearly they don't.
Oh yeah, some people don't.
And they don't argue with themselves the way I do, at least. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. I do want to do it. And when I was talking to some other people, they seem to be fairly clear about, I'm going to do this, and they go and do it.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, which I'm kind of exploring the whole neuro spicy thing as well, which I'm wondering whether that's a thing.
Yeah, I've had my own feelings that came
Yeah,
up with that because I never thought. I just was like, oh yeah, that's a
yeah,
thing. And then yeah, neuro spicy is I'm there. Don't know what, don't have a diagnosis, but
yeah, yeah,
every single thing that I've read, I'm like, well,
yeah,
there's something. There's a mix of things. I know I know that there's a lot that's complicated with that, and especially with women too
yeah,
on the spectrum.
yeah,
I know that there's the diagnoses were kind of more common for guys to get
yeah, yeah,
different stuff like that, and then of course, like if you're going towards the ADHD aspect, people are all over the place with that, or whether it's you know it's easily diagnosed and it's this or oh
yeah.
everyone's like that, and it's so hard. I just kind of went hey, I'm just gonna deal with my own mind.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm interested in it because it's popping up in terms of conversations about chronic fatigue, and then and so that, and then the Ehlers done.
Ehlers Danlos, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're saying that it's very related to ADHD as well, and so
Hmm.
so I'm because I feel alone in terms of what do I try next. So
Oh yeah.
I'm obviously exploring, and because the standard advice now is to pace yourself and to rest and then do something, rest and do something. And I'm like, okay, what else can I try? Because some of the things related more to ADHD are not necessarily saying rest. They're maybe suggesting some sort of stimulant, or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And I'm like,
There's all
okay,
kinds. Yeah, there's all kinds. I know some people definitely benefit from a little bit of either medication or
yeah,
something that can help, and that's totally valid. I completely understand that.
yeah,
And then also just the kind of things that I know for me, something I need to do and am still really trying hard to do is like mindfulness stuff,
yeah.
meditation, things that I know can help. Um, but man, is that hard to get
And I've
get
just been learning
started.
about tapping. I don't know if you've
Ooh,
seen that, and it's like you're supposed
there's
to say
all
this.
kinds of
And
stuff.
the trouble is, I forget to do it.
I
If it's
it
not
is.
right in front of me, I'm just going to forget completely, and then I get the next
Oh,
session come up, and I'm like, and he goes, "Did you do your homework?" I go, "No, I didn't do my homework."
no,
So,
I have the same thing. I end up trying, and then I end up trying to schedule myself to do
yeah,
things. I end up trying to utilize my phone and going, okay, now if I have this list of things I need to do, I'm gonna do it. And then like a few days later, I'll get distracted and be like, I
yeah,
haven't even touched my list. I haven't even
yeah.
looked at it.
No,
I
I
know the
am
struggle is
better.
real.
I'm better in person
Mm,
and doing those things. And that's the other ADHD thing, isn't it? It's about being interested in it and urgency. So I'll do the homework half an hour before the class, you know.
oh yeah.
But I think one of the things they were saying in the ADHD is use that. Don't beat
Yes.
yourself up about it. Just use it. Say, okay, I'm not going to block off Monday because I know I'll do it half hour before on Wednesday. So don't even worry about it Monday. Like,
That's so good. That's a good. It's like a hack. You have to try to
yeah,
figure out how to hack
because
your
because
own brain a little.
I was blocking off time and then just had zero energy and motivation to do things.
Yeah.
And then spending the evening saying, well, you're rubbish and all the things that you do. Well, I hope you do. I hope you don't do, but
I do.
that I do. Oh, dear me. But anyway, look, it's getting up for almost an hour. I can't believe it's almost an hour. But
I
I
know.
really enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, I loved it.
So your Sarah is Sara,
Yes.
Sara Sidewinder, and you're on Instagram
I'm
and
on pretty
Facebook.
much everything. I am on Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever.
Oh my goodness, brave.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the stuff. I'm on all the other ones too. Threads, literally everything you could find Ren on, I am also on. And I have been on most of them.
yeah, yeah.
So.
And if they go to your Instagram and Facebook, they may not find a huge amount right now
right
because
now,
it's been
but
a few
there
weeks. Yeah,
it's only been a few weeks, but I am working on stuff, and I definitely will always post stuff if it has to do with Ren. It'll be in the rabbit hole
yeah.
on the Patreon. I post on there too if anyone
Okay.
follows that.
Well, I'm interested whatever art you're making, and not just the Ren stuff.
Oh,
I'm
sweet.
interested because you've been inspired. Yeah, I'm just so interested in this. What what happens when you flick a switch and it's like,
Yeah,
okay, I'm not doing anything, but then suddenly you get the idea, and it's almost like you tip into it. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. Oh
Energy
yeah,
wise, like, okay, I'm finding myself drawing now. Like,
yeah.
what
Well,
was the
that's
difference
very
between
sweet.
yesterday and today? Like, what happened? So
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah, I will be posting. I will definitely post my art that doesn't have to do with Ren on my Instagram
yeah,
and my Facebook. Those will always have them, and yeah, those are easy to follow. Anyone can friend request me, and
yeah,
if you just send me a message, I will
yeah.
definitely be happy with that.
Okay. Well, I can't wait to see where it goes. But anyway,
Oh,
thank you for talking.
thank you so
I'm gonna
much.
stop the recording, but we're gonna say
Cool.
our goodbyes afterwards.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
Tatty bye. Bye. There you go.